This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Uh, 6:02, we're gonna just get started. We're just signing in. We're trying out something tonight with running a hybrid meeting. So just give us a minute here to try to sign in so we can kick this thing off, both in person and digitally.
I'm gonna need a password.
So hopefully we'll be here in. Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right, so it is 6:03. I'll call the meeting to order for the Conservation Commission tonight on July 6th, 2026. We are recording this meeting, just so everybody's aware. This will be recorded and then posted on the Southampton.
Let's start.
Oh. Whoa.
Recording in progress.
There we go. All right. So first things first, open time to the public.
Mr. Chairman, if I may suggest, we have two potential new members here tonight. I'd like the commission members to meet them and then be the members, and then we can make a recommendation to town administrator and the board of selectmen.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds good. Yeah. So where do we want to start? Tallulah, you came in first. Do you mind introducing yourself? And
Do I go up? Or
just from there is fine.
Hi everyone, I'm Tallulah. I grew up in Southampton and I've been away the last 10 years, but I just moved back and I've been working in environmental sustainability and climate change and conservation the last 10 years.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. And I don't mean to put you on the spot right off the get-go here, but thank you. Yeah. I know you've emailed or communicated with George a few times, and you've already put in an application. Yeah, wow. That's awesome. Thank you.
Of course. Hi everyone, I'm Renee Jones. I am a 4-year resident of Southampton. I've been in the Valley since 2019, and I served in Whately on the Open Spaces Committee when I lived there. I am a fundraiser and I work at Mount Holyoke College. And I've worked in the Valley since 2019. Could you remember your first name? Perrine, yes. And I'm originally from Eastern Massachusetts, spent 9 years in Chicago and came back. So it's a calling, right?
Yes. Yeah, welcome back to Western Mass. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. Thank you for coming in. Thanks for your interest. Yeah.
Do you need a motion to recommend these two potential applicants to the select board?
I make a motion to recommend Tallulah and Perrine to join the commission.
Yeah, I'll second the motion.
Awesome. Thank you both. All right. All in favor, Robin?
Yeah.
Brad?
Yeah.
And I. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it'll go to the select board, and then you'll be on this side, sitting on one of these chairs. Cool. You're welcome to stay or to cut out. Up to you. So, cool. Anybody else for the open time to the public? Yeah.
I'm Bill Barkham. I went to your last meeting and it got cut short. Everybody that was sitting there thought that they'd have extra time at the end of the meeting for open time for the public. Before they could either say anything, the representatives of Blue Waves looked and you closed the meeting. Is this closed now where we can't say anything as a public?
Yeah, good question. No, it is that public hearing has been continued. So the way that these meetings work is there's an open time for the public right now, which is a time to talk about anything that's not a public hearing. And then shortly, when we get into the public hearings, I'll reopen. There's 2 that have been continued. One of them is the solar project. We'll reopen the public hearings, and then that's when you can comment on those public hearings.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not grouchy.
Okay. So if nobody else has anything else, then we will move on
I got
to.
a question.
Yeah.
I was wondering, is the representative from Levesque going to be here tonight, or is he here tonight?
Excuse me, sir, you need to identify yourself for the record.
Yes.
Richard Adams, 40 foot.
We have been informed that a representative of the peer review team would be here.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Hi. Only up front. Yep. Okay, so we have 3 public hearings tonight. I'm going to start with the 2 that are not the solar project, since I imagine there's going to be some conversation and some discussion with that. So I'll get the other 2 started so the folks there can cut out and not have to sit through the discussion if they don't want to. So I'll start with continuing the public hearing for an RDA for a new septic system at 9 Gilbert Road for Kenneth Adams. And George, you had informed me that...
Yes, members of the commission, this hearing was continued to receive input from a certified professional wetland soil scientist as to whether the 16-year-old wetlands line still appeared to be accurate. I received that information today from Heather Comey, and she did in fact inform me and the commission through me that the wetlands lines are still accurate. And based on that, that was the one thing the commission was waiting for.
Yeah.
If there's no more testimony, I'd recommend my agent's report. You have my agent's report. I'm recommending what am I recommending?
Positive 2A, 5,
Right.
negative 2 with
Yes.
some conditions. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's great. Did either of you have any thoughts? Okay.
No, I'd move to approve.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Brad.
We-
In your motion, could you also move to close the hearing and issue the RDA?
Yeah, let's move to close the hearing on 9 Gilbert Road. And then as part of the RDA, we would recommend as a commission a positive number 2A and 5, negative number 2 with the following conditions: 24 through 29, 33 through 35, 37 through 39, 41, 42, 47, 49, 54, 56, 58, and 62.
I second.
Great, thank you. All right, all in favor, Robin,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
and I, yeah. So that passes. And then we have to sign this here.
I actually gave you the wrong one.
Oh. All right, the next public hearing tonight that is for 127 Middle Road. Jeremy, I think, Labrie, an RDA with the note I have here. Yeah, it's an RDA. There's some fill within the BVW. Yeah, and a storage container, I think, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think if you want to kind of give us the rundown, that'd be great.
My name is Jeremy LeBray, 127 Miller Road. I just wanted to make a little parking area.
You need to sign in.
Oh, sorry. I should have said yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to make some parking area. We had some fill. Apparently it's too close to the wetlands. I don't know what to do now. It's been a few years since I did it.
Okay.
There's no washout or anything, nothing being run down into the swampy area.
Yeah.
I measured, I'm about 60 feet from any of the really wet area.
Okay. Yeah, and I know that you've talked with George and filled out the RDA.
Yeah.
And I think his in his conditions, I think George you had recommended a straw wattle,
Yes.
right, for any potential runoff.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Yeah. And then, you know, I think once we, you know, go through this, if that's approved, if the project's approved, then the enforcement order that had, you know, kind of kicked all of this off would then get, what's the word you used in here? Eliminated, essentially.
Yeah.
Or lifted. Yeah. Did you guys have any questions on that?
No.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
If I may, just for the record, timing is everything. I originally picked this issue up while I was on Middle Road doing some other inspections. I reached out to the applicant. Eventually it got to the point where you'll see in my agent's report, I did issue an enforcement order. And I went to the post office, mailed a certified mail, got back to my office, and the owner is here waiting to file the application. So the enforcement order is not going to go forward, doesn't have to be approved. And based on the applicant's willingness to place straw wattles at the bottom of the slope, again, as my agent's here, I'm recommending +5 and a -3 with the stipulations as outlined. The work is done. We just want to make sure at this point it's fairly close to the BVW boundary, about 30 feet at the toe of the slope. So we want to make sure nothing in the unconsolidated soil moves, and thus the erosion control.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense.
And so far, it happened a couple of years ago, right? And there
Right.
hasn't been erosion?
Nothing.
I'd, unless you guys have anything else, I was gonna make a motion to approve this with the,
Yeah, we gotta close the hearing.
yes, at this time, we can do it all in one, yes.
All right.
Okay, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing and to issue a +5, -3, with the conditions outlined in the agent's report,
Brad, there's two of them.
including the straw wattles. Did you guys get that?
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor, Ron?
Yes.
Brad?
Yeah.
Aye. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so now the only other public hearing for the night is the NOI application for Blue Wave for the solar operating facility. And so I know this is, the last time we were here, you went through the second iteration of the peer review and summarized the responses. Did you have anything else tonight that you were hoping to talk about other than answering questions?
Yeah, we can answer questions. If you have any comments or questions about the responses that we provided, I'm happy to go in any detail for you.
Okay. And I know you had.
I do have some questions, but I don't know if we want to have public comment
No, I think.
first.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. You can see. Couple things. One is the 7-foot, the part that is going over into the buffer zone. I'm really not clear about where exactly that is and what is entailed. Is it like a paved, a cement area that?
Yeah, give me a minute. I can set up the larger print on here. But the 7 square feet, I think, is what you're referring to.
Right.
That's the actual impact that's within the riverfront area. So from a perennial stream out 200 feet from the bank line is a protected resource under the Wetlands Protection Act. And that within that 200-foot area, we've identified what the permanent impact is going to be. And it's essentially the posts, the foundation supports for the array is the only impact within that riverfront area. Everything else is an existing farming operation or outside of any jurisdictional area. So the equipment paths, new gravel access roads, things like that. So the 7 square feet represents the area of the post that's being driven in. That's a permanent impact within the area, within that riverfront area. Everything else is elevated off the ground surface, like the panel itself.
So there will be panels?
There will be panels within the riverfront area, but it's an elevated system, and it's in the name of the system, it's a dual use system, so the farming isn't going away. They're continuing with their operations in the area. It's just elevated off the ground.
So
it's
how many
not
posts are going to be over the buffer line?
I think we provided that in here. Give me 1 second.
And these are wooden posts?
Most likely it will be steel.
Okay, because I thought I read somewhere that they were going to be
The
wooden.
fencing post will be a wooden
Okay.
post.
And will there also be fencing in that across the buffer?
The fencing will be used to support the farming operations, but yeah, around the perimeter of the site, there's 10 racking posts within the riverfront area for the foundations of the system. The perimeter fence is a fixed farm knot fence, and that will be around the perimeter of the site.
Can I add to that? There's 150 posts. There's not 10.
Within the riverfront area.
Within the riverfront area, there's 150 posts. That's where
Jeff,
you 7 square feet.
Not to be a stickler for the rules on open meeting laws, but we have to make sure that the comments go through this table, sign in, and aren't interjected in between, during somebody's
And you can't
time.
have paper around so you can sign it?
Right.
When you raise your hand or when you are going to speak, I'd ask that you come up here to sign it. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so the riverfront area.
So they can.
Yeah, so the riverfront area is this dashed double dotted line here that extends out from the Manhan River that is down here by the M line. So what we're referring to as the 7 square feet is just the posts within this double dashed line, and that's the 10 posts within this line down here. That's the riverfront area.
Okay. And I know in the peer review, he kind of suggested, like, do you really have to go over the borderline? And I thought that your answer was sort of like, yeah, we do. And I question that too, like, how much of a difference really does it have to be?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I also just want to clarify for the record, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Melinda Costello with Weston & Sampson, civil engineer for the project, and we're the civil engineer on behalf of the applicant, Blue Wave. So when Blue Wave looks at these projects, they work with a landowner to develop a lease agreement. And there's a lot of financial aspects that go into a project. So when we did the alternatives analysis for this project, and reviewing their question and looking into it, it was just a matter of the capacity that they needed while also working with the farmer and being able to use the areas that they were willing to put into the lease agreement, which is why we got to the location that we are within today. They do farming operations currently, all within these areas. We're not expanding anything or disturbing any areas that were previously undisturbed associated with this project. The proposed array where you see it is within the limits of what they currently use from a farming standpoint.
Another question I have is, how much soil are you like scraping the topsoil when you're putting this in, or how much is the topsoil being disturbed?
From a temporary standpoint, the intent is to go in and only disturb what is needed to either expand the gravel access roads and put in an additional width to get the equipment needed down there, or for the actual drilling for the foundation post itself. So the soil disturbances would be related to that. So within that riverfront area, it would be the disturbances needed for the fence posts and the foundation posts. There's no additional gravel access roads going in.
Okay. Do you guys, I have other questions, but do you guys have?
On the posts, on the disturbance, no. Well, yeah, so when you're installing those, I guess on the disturbance, is there, I mean, this land is, the intent is for the land to continue to be farmed post-installation. With other projects that, kind of piggybacking on Robin's question around just the disturbing the soils, what is the machinery that's used to put those posts in, and how, yeah, I mean, what, the gravel road's not going to every single post, right? So like what type of tire tracks, what imprint on this the land is going to happen, and like because that, if it's heavy machinery going in and leaving tire tracks, there's a potential for water to form a stream and create erosion. How is that being mitigated?
So during construction, we will have perimeter temporary controls around the perimeter of the limit of work. That would entail silt fence or straw wattles going along the perimeter at the down gradient side. Within the limits of the site during construction, means and methods, I can't tell you exactly what equipment is going to be out there during construction, but typically it's like a track mounted rig, or a tire driven rig that drives around and drives the posts into the ground. So I would imagine it would be something similar to here. And the impact of that during construction would be similar to what you would see a farmer doing with his equipment driving through the field, whether it's haying or tilling. It's similar equipment from a farming standpoint to a construction standpoint. So the disturbances wouldn't be greater than what you would typically see with the farming operations.
Okay.
I will say, just to expand on that, these projects are greater than 1 acre in size overall in terms of total disturbance. So we will have coverage under the NIPD's construction general permit, the EPA construction general permit, and as part of that, you're required to have a site-specific stormwater pollution control plan, which it essentially outlines site-specific measures that are required to keep any disturbances on site within your limits of disturbance. And there's inspection requirements associated with that. It's once every 14 calendar days and within a rainstorm greater than a quarter inch, or once every 7 calendar days. And that goes through the duration of the construction once soil disturbance activities occur.
Okay, thank you.
And that's done by a third party, so it's not, the contractor could do it, but typically Blue Wave hires a third party to do those inspections.
Got it.
I have another question, and I think it's been asked before. Exactly where on that map are the 150 posts going to go? Where's that wetland that it's hitting, or the buffer area?
Yeah, let me try to get a highlighter out for you to show you. So the 10 post is just associated with the riverfront area. Everything else is just within the buffer zones. So it's this line here that I'm highlighting is that 200-foot riverfront area. So it's this section right here of posts that are within that. That's the 7 square feet that we developed is from those posts right there.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have more a comment maybe than a question, but I have to disagree with George that the aquifer isn't part of our purview here, because I really do have questions about if you have this many solar panels and you are trying to recharge the aquifer through rain, and I think it's obviously going to have an impact on how the rain is absorbed, and the aquifer is crucial. People need water. We can't just play with this. This is something we have to really protect. And the aquifer also charges the rivers too. So I feel like, George, it is part of our purview to ask questions about what impact having all these solar panels will have on the aquifer.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, it's certainly a valid question, but when you read the wetland statutes, it does not regulate water, it regulates land only.
Right, but this is land use that we're talking about.
No, but it regulates land. It doesn't regulate, for instance, it regulates the land under a water body, but not the water.
Yeah, but I'm saying how the land is being used here.
Well, where the commission's clout, if you will, comes in, is making sure that the proposed work is not going to put pollutants into the water that's going to get into the aquifer.
So you're saying, my question is really about how well rainfall will be able to be absorbed and recharge the aquifer.
And my reading of both the local wetlands bylaw, the state law, and 310 CMR, and the state Supreme Court decision says no.
That seems crazy to me.
No comment, but
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
your name.
David Cameron, Fleetwood Environmental Solutions. I did the delineation work on the site. I think a similar question came up from the public in the last meeting, and I think someone actually read verbatim either from the act itself or the preface of the regulations, citing the fact that groundwater supply is one of the interests of the Wetlands Protection Act, which it is. It is. That was a hard question for the Conservation Commission to receive about, okay, well, how are you going to protect the groundwater? George is right. An alteration is a physical disturbance to some piece of land that happens to be a wetland resource area. So the groundwater supply itself is not regulated. The way an applicant demonstrates that they are protecting any of the statutory interests, whether it's flood storage or fisheries, wildlife habitat, or groundwater supply, is by taking the resource areas that they're working in this case we're proposing to work in the riverfront area, and showing that you comply with the performance standards for riverfront area. And if you comply with the relevant performance standards for any resource area you're working in, there's a presumption in the regulations that you're protecting those interests of the act. So that's how groundwater is protected.
Yeah, but in my mind, I'm just making the comment here, it's a whole system, and the groundwater is tied into the river and the wetlands, and yet also if you're affecting something that's affecting the aquifer, it is all tied together.
And just to further explain, the system is elevated off the ground. So what's hitting the panel is hitting the panel and then draining to the ground underneath. We're not making major ground cover changes to this that would affect that curb number runoff, that would impact a slower recharge to the ground. The ground surface is still going to remain in agricultural use and being for farming purposes. We're not changing to a gravel or an impervious system that would shed more runoff from or create more runoff rather than a recharge situation. Everything is elevated. The inner row spacing is at a wider width than a typical conventional ground-mounted system where you have tighter row spacing. So the recharge is still going to be there for this site.
Yeah, but not in the same way without panels there.
So one of the questions that I had asked, I think maybe 4 or 5 or 6 meetings ago was, if you have you have these big panels, there's rain that falls on them, there's water that's going to run off those, much like a roof, and we have gutters, right, to prevent erosion, where instead of water just hitting the same spot every single time. And I think one of the comments was from, I forget if it was from you or from one of your colleagues, Melinda, but are these motorized?
Correct. So this is a tracking system, and it rotates throughout the day with the sun. So in the morning time, it's going to face east, and then at noon, it's going to be at a straight up position, and then towards the evening, it will be facing west. So again, unlike a typical conventional ground mounted system where you have a fixed tilt that you have that common drip edge 24 hours a day, this system is rotating. So if you have a rainstorm during the day, you won't have that standard standard drip angle, and then they are in a stow position at night. That you won't have that major drip line if it were to be like at a street. That's an elevated 90-degree panel.
And now, does that track, how is that tracking the sun? Is it just on a timer, or is it actually like using sensors?
I believe there is a timer system in the motors that it tracks through, like it's kind of like a timer for your Christmas lights or something at your house, where you set the time, and then throughout the day it rotates every hour.
Got it. So I asked that, so if it's a gray day where you can't track a sun moving, it's still going to be like a gray rainy day, it's still going to be moving?
I believe so, but I'm not the expert in the solar, so I can't answer 100% for sure.
Thank you.
One other, I don't know if this is a weird question or not, but do the panels create like a heat sink? Will the air temperature actually be warmer because the panels are there, and what effect will that have?
That comment has been raised in the past, and there's no evidence, there's been no studies that show that the ambient temperature around solar systems have an effect on like a warming aspect.
Okay.
Do you have any?
No.
Okay. Did you have any?
I have no further question.
Okay. Does anybody from the public want to speak?
Yeah, I do. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay.
I got probably so much to say, I don't know if we have enough time tonight.
Yeah, come on up and sign in. I just would like to remind folks that the battery storage facility, or the batteries themselves, are not in our jurisdiction. So if comments start to head in that direction, I will be making sure folks stay on topic here with what the Concom has jurisdiction over.
Can I sit down and talk?
Sure. No, you can sit if you, whatever's more comfortable.
Well, I'll start with the 10 panels here, so you can talk about. It's not 10, it's 150. Look at this. It's 10, yeah. Oops. There are, well, I'll put it here somewhere. But there's 15 rows with 10 posts apiece, that's 150 panels. There's 26 solar arrays or solar panels per line. So 15 times 26 is 390 solar panels and 150 posts. I mean, it says so right in the application. So I don't know where 10 comes from.
Melinda or Dave, do you want to?
Yeah, sure.
Comment on
I'm just re-looking for the response. So I'll just read the response specifically, directly from our response to comments. The comment was, page 3, the listed 7 SF of proposed alteration of riverfront area does not appear to be accurate based on the limit of work shown on the submitted site plans. Please recalculate. Our responses. The total proposed alteration area within the riverfront area, i.e. ground disturbance, is approximately 7 square feet. The area remains unchanged as the panel layout has not changed. The 7 square feet of land coverage change is due to the racking posts of the solar PV array. The array is made up of multiple strings of solar panels, with each consisting of approximately 26 modules. The project currently proposes 15 strings within the riverfront area. It is assumed that each string requires 10 racking posts, and each post is 3 inches in diameter. So I apologize, I did misspeak when I quickly looked last time I looked at that 10 racking posts. There is a total of 150 posts within the riverfront area, each with a surface area of approximately 0.049 square feet, resulting in an alteration area of 7.4 square feet.
And there's 390 panels associated with those 15 rows.
So the 150 posts that correcting that from the previous number, but it's still the 7.4 square.
It is 7 square feet. I just quickly, the last time when I gave my answer, I quickly looked and I just saw 10 racking posts without reading the entire response. So I did misspeak, but so if you calculate out the total area, the surface area of one post is 0.049 square feet. If you multiply that by the total number of posts, you get to 7.4 square feet of impact.
The posts are, I think it was 3 inch diameter?
3 inch diameter.
Okay.
So there's 150 posts. There's equipment going in there to install 150 posts. There's equipment going in there to install the racks. There's equipment going in there to hang the panels. The panels, are motorized, I get that. But and what is the stowed position? You mentioned the stowed position after some, what is the stowed position?
I don't have that number offhand right now.
I'm looking for a number, I'm looking at what the position is.
I don't have the angle
Okay,
included in these plans of what the stope position is.
well, I guess what I'm getting at is rain doesn't only happen 8 hours a day. So granted, they're slightly moving throughout the 8-hour, 10-hour period of sunlight. So yeah, if it rains during that time, it's not gonna all dump off the edge in one spot. But, you know, it takes a long time to go from sun up to sundown position. So it's not moving very fast. And if you get a torrential rain, the stuff's gonna be coming off that drip line off of almost 10,000 panels pretty damn fast. So I think it is altering the amount of water, not necessarily the amount of water, but the way the water falls on the land. I see how it doesn't.
I'll ask this question a different way. So these, how many years have we had farming? I don't know what the proper term is, but farming under panels? Do we know?
I can't speak, Blue Wave is not here tonight,
Right.
so I don't know their full portfolio, but they do have active systems that have been in operation for more than 5 years, I think. But I don't know when the first one went into operation and how long that has been operating.
Yeah. Okay. The follow up to that was, you know, with the other farms that are doing this, are they, you know, what's their experience, and you know, are they experiencing erosion? Are they having to put in gravel rows to, you know, to mitigate some of this?
So as part of the SMART program and the initiative for dual use farming, there's a farming plan that gets submitted, and they're required to submit reports for farming on a certain frequency. I don't know what that is, but for sites that are needed for haying, you have a tractor that drives through your site and essentially mows and picks up the grass underneath these panels. And if you were to put gravel in these, that would impact that haying operation, and it would impact that report that is submitted, and you'd have to take out this, like, the system from that dual use category. And I'm not aware if that has happened in the past. In our Weston and Sampson's relationship with Blue Wave, we have not been brought into a project that has been in operations from an erosion or scouring issue or problem that they've had to mitigate, but I can't speak directly to the performance of the systems.
Okay.
If that's helpful.
Okay, thank you.
It says in here that the impact of the farm fencing, 5-inch diameter pine posts that are driven into the ground is not going to affect anything. First of all, they're not driven into the ground, they're drilled into the ground, they're augered into the ground. So there is some disturbance involved there. They're not driven, as far as I know. I also would like to know on this farm fencing, 7 foot high, no real big deal, but somewhere it said in there that you're gonna elevate or keep the bottom 6 inches off the ground so creatures can get through. Certainly no large creatures are gonna get through that. It's basically saying in here that this is not gonna affect wildlife corridors, it's not gonna affect anything to do with, I mean, I know you're creating turtle habitats and all that, but I can't see how that's not gonna affect wildlife corridors.
Was the 6 inch, I think it was 6 inches raised, right? Is that what, was that targeted for, specifically for turtles, or is that?
Not specifically for turtles. It's called a critter gap, and we just propose it at the bottom of the fence for smaller animals and critters. I will say that we've done post-construction inspections, no matter how tall the fence is, 7 feet, 8 feet, we do see wildlife within the fence. But the fencing is both for a farming operation and to support the project itself from an electric code.
Okay,
Could
thanks.
someone explain to me how you're gonna hay this land, either, never mind under the panels, which I don't think could be possible, but in between the panels? I know I think the rows are 18 foot on center, is that what I understood?
Correct.
So unless the panels are vertical, it's less than 18, quite a bit less than 18 feet between the panels. I mean, how do you turn farm equipment around in that kind of space? I just don't know.
How tall are the panels off the ground?
My understanding, there's anywhere from, they lay flat at 10 feet off the ground, but when they're tilted, they're probably anywhere, I'm not gonna answer you.
Right.
So the 18 feet is the inner row spacing when the panel is directly facing up at the sun. So it's edge of panel to edge of panel, not post to post. So post to post will be larger. Give me a minute on the height. The minimum height of the panel is 10 feet. So
Is that at like full?
that's the minimum height. So when it would be at its stowed position,
when it's vertical,
the height would be 10 feet from the bottom of the panel to the ground surface.
Okay.
Could I interject for a second?
Yeah. And
I'm Ron Bishop, I'm the landowner.
okay.
I have to sign in.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Thank you.
I don't know what to put for application.
You could just leave that blank for now. Thank you.
So thanks for all of everyone's concern. Raising all these questions and comments and concerns helps me check on the engineers and Blue Wave and the rest of it. So it makes it all good. So some of the questions being asked are elementary from my thing because I've been involved since day one. Others, I don't know the details of either because it hasn't come up. As far as the question about the panels, I do know that when they are tilted, they're 10 feet level. When they're tilted, it's minimum 7 feet, according to what we're told. I'm not sure how that works out with paperwork there, but that's what we're told. And as far as mowing the hay under the panel, it's no different than driving your tractor straight without a post. You have to watch out for the post. You know where the trees are on the side of the field, right? But it shouldn't be a problem, as I explained in our other street meetings, that it's pretty basic stuff on the hay. The question came up about the rainwater dripping off them. It's a heavy turf under them. There could be some issue. The stow position, that's all I've heard it described as well, the stow position, so I don't know anything with that. I don't know if it's going to be moving back consistently through the night the same way it went through the day. I don't know that. The other facilities that we visited didn't seem to have that type of erosion, but I suppose it would depend on the year, depending on the weather.
Hey Ron, quick question for you. Thanks for the, coming in and talking to this and bringing some of your expertise with haying. The sites that you'd visited that had installed something like this, were they also hay fields or were they other crops?
Hay and pasture.
Okay.
Yeah, there was cows
Sure.
in some
Okay.
of them. Others, it must have been hayfields, because they were all grass, so.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
The cows get through that 40-acre fence around.
There's gates to let them in and out, and in those areas, right now, we're not planning to have animals under them, potentially, but, you know.
Okay. Thank you. Did anybody else want to sign in and talk?
Can I keep going or no?
Oh, he's got more in this.
I just got one more thing.
Sure.
Well, I got many more things, but I want to say one more thing right now. The Levesque people, right, who did the peer review, are they on Zoom? Are they in this room? I mean, where are they?
They're not on Zoom. We were told that they were going to be here tonight. Who was that? Levesque?
Yes, I was informed they would be here.
So.
Well, I mean, they're the so-called experts that did the peer review.
Mm-hmm.
A meeting a month ago, there was discussion from Weston and Sampson for, I don't know, 20 minutes, talking about various different responses.
Mm-hmm.
Levesque wasn't here to even hear those.
Mm-hmm.
To me, you gotta go through this whole thing. You know, basically, the description of the project, or, you know, the peer review, and every single answer or response to that thing needs to be heard by the person who asked the question. You know, I just don't, it doesn't make any sense that we're even talking about this without them here.
Yeah, with all due respect to the people that are here, we have to know, I'm sorry, Sandy Adams, 40 Pleasant Street. We have to know if their responses were adequate to what were the problems that the peer review saw. Are we just supposed to take their word for it that, okay, whatever they said, now it's okay? That's why we thought we were having somebody from Levesque here tonight to kind of tell us, yeah, it's all okay. They're doing everything that they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, I mean, I was hoping that they would be here as well.
Evan,
Yes.
as the meeting got started, they submitted their peer review response to comments letter. There's only 3 items in that letter. I'd be happy to read it out loud. I mean, it was submitted too late for any of you to review, but just given the residents' concern on behalf of Blue, I'd be happy to read those out loud. They did have 3 comments, which we would be prepared to kind of explain our reasoning for our initial response to those questions. But they did submit it very late. And with all due respect, they've had our initial application, I think since February was when the contract was signed. So it's been a while we've been waiting for their responses, but I'd be happy to read those aloud if you would want, if the residents would want.
Yeah, you said they sent it tonight?
They just sent it back. When did the meeting start? 6 o'clock?
Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, I see that now. Yes, and here, I'll pull it up as well. But yes, I would be curious to hear your response to their response. And yes, they did have, we did kick them off in February. We did have to wait for snow.
For the wetland delineation.
Yes.
And they could have been reviewing our application, and the rest of the comments in the meantime.
Can you just clarify who they is when you say they?
Levesque.
Levesque.
The peer review. Yeah, thank you, good question. Do you want to read the response and then provide commentary on that?
I can't, yep.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Do you want me to read it out loud?
So we can all hear you.
Yeah, can you stand
Because we heard nothing that you said at the last meeting, like zero.
Oh, I
Okay,
apologize.
we're in a smaller word. Just let us know if you're having trouble hearing and we'll speak louder.
Okay, so Mr. Russell, our Levesque Associates, has reviewed the response to peer review comments submitted by Weston and Sampson on May 31st, 2026 for the above referenced project. Based upon our review, the majority of our comments have been addressed through revisions and or additional clarification, with the exception of the following outstanding issues noted below. These items should be considered by the Conservation Commission prior to determining if the peer review comments have been satisfactorily addressed and issuance of an order of conditions. Comment 1, sheet C101, number 15, limit of work within the bordering vegetated wetland. The revised response does not appear to adequately address the proposed limit of work shown on the plan set extending through the existing bordering vegetated wetland BVW. The proposed fence installation, together with the apparent clearing necessary to construct and maintain the fence, would appear to result in impacts to the BVW, even if the area of the fence posts themselves is relatively insignificant. Additionally, it remains unclear how the applicant intends to manage the remaining portion of the BVW located within the fenced area. The plans do not clearly identify whether vegetation within the enclosed wetland area will remain undisturbed, be maintained, or otherwise be altered over time. This issue should be clarified prior to issuance of an order of conditions. Additionally, any BVW impacts, temporary or permanent, should be reflected in the order of conditions.
Can you just tell everybody what BVW stands for?
The bordering vegetated wetland. On our plan set, I believe they are referring to the southwest corner of the field where there is a wetland system that does finger into the array. So the area that I'm highlighting right now is our limit of work line and where there's a proposed fence line. Our explanation into this is that the fencing itself, and Dave can go into this into a little bit more detail, but the fencing itself, because it's associated with the farming activity, is an exempt activity. And Dave, I know you were the one that delineated wetland, so if you could go into explain the vegetation there and the additional details associated with it, I would.
Sure. I guess I would start first by responding to the part of their comment that was expressing concern or questioning what was going to happen to vegetation. There's no clearing that's needed because that area where the fence would go, it's been a livestock pasture until what, a year ago or 2 years ago?
It still is.
Still is. So it's there's no trees, no shrubs. It's a grassy area. The reason we didn't quantify the fence posts going into this wetland is because there's an exemption under the Act for fencing. So there are two broad categories of activities, of agricultural activities, that are just entirely exempt under the Wetlands Protection Act. One is called normal maintenance of land and agricultural use, and one is called normal improvement of land and agricultural use. Those are the two broad categories. I've got the regulations right here. And under the normal improvement of land and agricultural use, there's a whole bunch of activities, but the very first one is the installation of permanent fencing, windbreaks, hedgerows, but the cutting of vegetation to create forest boundaries up to 5 feet wide. So installation of permanent fencing is an exempt agricultural activity. That's why we didn't. So I'm not proposing replication for, I mean, it's a handful, 5-inch diameter wooden fence posts going into the ground through an active livestock pasture. Okay, so I think that answers all the questions.
Okay, thank you. And then the second, I'd like to get through these first, please. Yes, thank you.
Do you want me to read the second one?
Yes, please. Yeah.
So comment number 2, project description, narrative. Number 6, riverfront area analysis. The response to the alternatives analysis also appears to be inadequate for a commercial project located within riverfront area. The Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, 310 CMR 10.58, Section 4C2.C.I requires a comprehensive alternatives analysis demonstrating that there is no practical and substantially equivalent alternative with less impact on the protected resource areas. In addition to on-site alternatives, the regulations require an evaluation of off-site alternatives where appropriate. The information provided by the applicant is limited to only on-site alternatives. Accordingly, the applicant should identify the properties within the same municipality that were reasonably available at the time of application filing and explain why those properties were not feasible alternatives. Without this analysis, it is difficult to conclude that the performance standards of the Rivers Protection Act have been satisfied. One response to this comment is just that, and what I was explaining earlier, the applicant's lease agreement is with this property owner and not with other property owners in town for this application. So the alternatives analysis that we provided in our application is relative to this project site itself. And with that, I will highlight that the impact itself to the riverfront is only 7 square feet. I don't know, Dave, do you want to add to that?
I think the operative word in that clause that cited is commercial. This is not strictly a commercial project. It's a dual-use agricultural renewable energy project. So it's superimposing solar panels over an existing established agricultural use. When that section of the regulations was written back in, promulgated back in 1996 or 1997, no one conceived of these dual-use projects. They weren't even on anybody's horizon. So I understand Levesque's comment. If this was a proposal to build a CVS or a Walmart, then the applicant would absolutely have to be required to go, okay, we want to do one in this general area. We've done a marketing study and we think we can generate the revenue we need by putting a CVS in this general area. In that sense, it would require the applicant to go try to find another site where there would be riverfront area impacts. But these dual-use projects, in order to comply with the incentives, they have to necessarily be sited on agricultural land. And much of the agricultural land in Western Massachusetts is in floodplains. It's next to rivers and streams. So I just don't think that clause of the regulations applies to this particular project. It's not strictly a commercial project.
Okay, thank you. And then the third comment here.
Project description, narrative number 11, agricultural fence exemption. This kind of relates back to comment number 1. The applicant asserts that the proposed fencing qualifies as a normal improvement of land in agricultural use and is therefore exempt. Whether the proposed agrivoltaic solar project constitutes as an agricultural use for purposes of the Wetlands Protection Act should be determined by the Conservation Commission based upon the applicable regulations and guidance documents concerning farming activities within jurisdictional wetlands. Additionally, we respectfully recommend that the Commission independently evaluate whether the proposed fencing located within the BVW is necessary and why it cannot be relocated along the edge of the existing field. And then just conclusion, thank you for your consideration of these comments. We respectfully request that the Commission review these outstanding issues and determine whether the applicant has fully and satisfactorily responded to the remaining peer review comments before continuing its review of the notice of intent. We hope that this review will assist the Commission in their review of the project. Should you have any questions, please contact us at ryan@rlaland.com.
Thank you. George, do you question, like a technical question on that, the proposed fencing and the exemption? I mean, they're stating that, you know, what Dave was saying around the exemption, that made sense, but I guess Levesque is saying is disagreeing with that, right? Or like maybe asking to move the fence. Is that the? I don't know. How do you?
My opinion is, as long as the fencing is not a barrier to wildlife movement, it's not a problem. It's exempt from the regulations.
Yeah. Okay.
But he did say it's only 6 inches space, so obviously not all of wildlife would be able to.
Not the deers, not.
Right.
Deer, moose, fox, bears.
Dave, yes.
So there's a, I don't know, it's about 150-page guidance document that UMass prepared on behalf of DEP back in 1995, I think.
Can you talk louder, please? We can't hear you.
Yeah, so there's a guidance document that was prepared on behalf of Mass DEP by UMass back in 1995. I think it's called Farming and Wetland Resources. It's a commission, I have a copy of it. And in that guidebook, it specifically talks about this issue of fencing, and it says that, you know, some fencing is meant for different purposes, but in terms of agricultural use, one of the legitimate uses of fencing is actually to keep wildlife out of an agricultural area. So some fences keep things in, some fences keep things out, some fences do both. If an activity is exempt, there's no requirement to provide any wildlife passage at all. Exempt is exempt. In this case, the fence has actually been designed to be elevated a little bit to try to facilitate the movement of, you know, smaller mammals and reptiles and amphibians and things like that. But there's no requirement to provide wildlife passage for larger mammals into and out of agricultural areas if it's an exempt activity.
Okay.
What's the
Thank
purpose
you.
of the fence?
Can if folks have a question, I do ask. Please sign in and so that we have your name and it's part of the public record. Thanks, Richard.
What's the purpose of the fence?
So one purpose of the fence is just to support the overall compliance for the project with the National Electric Code. If you feel comfortable, do you mind from a farming standpoint talking about that?
I can. I don't have much of an opinion of the fence. It's something that, like you had said, it's required for the electrical code, I guess, is what they tell me. I'm sure there's something there for insurance. We all love insurance companies. But the height off the ground, I'm pushing for a higher height I can get, but I don't know where we stand with that.
What?
To answer the question, the purpose of the fence, in many cases it outlines the pasture where the cows, where we have a fence now. I'm not sure other than that.
So, Ron, thanks. You're saying you were pushing for a higher, for more space, right?
Yeah.
Is there a limit, or is there a maximum allowed limit for the electrical, for the solar field?
The height that you're referring to, is that the gap at the bottom or just the total?
Yeah, at the bottom.
The gap at the bottom from an electric code, I'm not an electrical engineer, but my understanding is just to prevent humans from unwanted humans from getting to the system and preventing a risk. So I would imagine you wouldn't want it more than 8 inches, a foot off the ground.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
again, I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But that's the intent of
Right.
the NEC regulation for the height requirement of the fence.
Okay.
Trying to keep the children on your porch.
So is there another fence, or I know this is not in the jurisdiction, but just understanding the, there's the storage, the battery storage. Is there another separate fence that is around that?
They do intend to have a separate fence around the battery system. The equipment pads will have their own fences.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks. Richard, yeah, you're signed over, so yeah.
I had questions pertaining to having Levesque here so that we could have our questions answered by the actual person that put together the peer review.
Yeah.
Because we read the peer review.
Yeah.
And I agree with Robin. There's concerns, very much so, pertaining to the aquifer that the commission supposedly has nothing to do with. Absolutely no problem with the water. But you do have concern with the wetlands. And what you're saying is we're looking at allowing the panels to go in this whole, it is a commercial installation. And I'll take that their actual initial permit, or the listing they put in the Gazette as far as starting this project stated a commercial electrical facility, manufacturing facility. So that's not farming in my idea. And taking a look at what the finished product is, what we saw in Granville, that's not farming, that's industrial commercial application. So the question is,
That's planning.
I'm sorry?
That's a planning board. I'm assuming.
All right, so take it off. Forget about that. The water runoff, is that the effect of wetlands?
The Stormwater Authority for the town of Southampton is the planning board.
So you have no concern whatsoever for the way this water gets redistributed, but yet you, as a commission, will go after somebody if they want to put a driveway in, and that is affecting the runoff for your wetland, a driveway. So something simple like that creates a problem, but yet 10,000 panels over 17 acres isn't going to affect it. That's my question.
That's not what we're saying at all. What we're saying is Stormwater Authority, when the stormwater standards kick in, is the planning board. And the only jurisdiction this commission has is the small area where those 7 square feet are going to be impacted in jurisdiction. If this site had 50% of it in jurisdiction wetlands, then we'd be talking about all these things.
Yeah, that's why I wish Levesque was here, so that we, and I think others have questions for them too, could find out, are they satisfied with what is being said as far as the corrections, and they move a pin or a flag or a post?
The stormwater analysis that was done by the peer reviewer will be used by the planning board.
Then why did they even address it if it was from the Conservation Commission? Why do they have a big paragraph?
Because it was submitted with the application.
Well, you called for the peer review, you got it, but yet you're ignoring the bold half-page paragraphs that were stating, the beginning of it, I think, states that the entire project is on the water aquifer.
The only jurisdiction the commission has is what's designated to them by the state law, and this entire site is not within their jurisdiction.
Can I say something?
If it was, then they'd be talking about that. But the planning board under the bylaw of the town of Southampton is the stormwater authority. We have no control over that.
Right.
Could Levesque be at the planning board meeting? Could we make
The
arrangements?
planning board requests them, yes.
They would have to
They request
request
them to be here and they're not here, so.
Yeah, would it be possible to hold off any voting to proceed with this tonight until we actually get Levesque here to talk to us?
That is up to the 3 commissioners sitting here. My recommendation to them is going to be that the vast majority of the concerns raised by the public are under the jurisdiction of the planning board.
Yeah, Melinda, you were trying to say something.
I just want to add clarification that in the response to comments package that we provided on May 31st, and that was a part of the review previously done by RLA, they did have comments on our stormwater report, and we did provide clarification to their questions and comments, and in that letter that I read, there were no further questions on the actual stormwater report. So to me, we did satisfy their comments that they had associated with the stormwater report. And then to the point that George just pointed out, the planning board application that has been submitted separately, the site plan review package that has been submitted separately to the planning board did include a copy of the stormwater report, and that will be a part of their review ahead in a future meeting in July.
Yes, yeah, July 20th, I believe.
Yes.
Right. Yes. Do you know, George, if the planning board has reached out or is
No,
part
I
of
have not.
communication?
No, I could ask the chair,
Okay.
but I have not heard anything from the chair of the planning board or Lebec about the planning board meeting.
Okay. Do you mind on tomorrow or next time you're in the office just making those connections so that everybody has everybody's email and contact info in advance of the 20th?
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah. Jeff.
Yeah, since everybody seems to be only concerned about wetlands, I'm just going to reiterate something I've already said at a previous meeting. Basically, there's damn close to 10 acres of this 40-acre project that is either in the riverfront area, the 200-foot riverfront area, the 100-foot wetland buffer, or the 25-foot conservation zone. There's 3.3 acres in the riverfront area, there's 6 acres in the wetland buffer, there's 0.4 acres in the 25-foot zone. That's a pretty good chunk of land of the 40 acres. It's damn close to 25% of the project is in those 3 areas. And again, I'll say it again, it's not 10 posts, it's 150, it's 390 panels, it's racks, it's all the equipment working in those areas to, they're gonna get disturbed. I don't care if it's a track machine or what it is. I mean, it's gonna get torn up. And it makes no sense. If someone were to build a shed in their backyard and encroached in any of those 3 zones, they'd be shut down in a heartbeat.
I mean, I appreciate the comment and the hypotheticals, but I think, we do want to keep this on track.
A little light on that.
Sure.
I'm not sure where it's shown on this map, or if it's shown, but around the panels, you asked about how we're gonna turn our hay equipment around. There's a 30-foot area that is not impacted at all except by the fencing. So that is included in most of that 40 acres is perimeter, because the outside of something makes a lot more square footage than the inside of something. So there's literally no construction other than the fence on the very outside of that 40-acre parcel, which is why it encroaches into these wetlands with those numbers that you used. It's an area that's not going to be minimally impacted when they put it in.
So when you farm, whether it's hay or whatever it is, you're gonna go down the row and you're gonna go around the end and come back on a different row?
Yep.
That's
Something to that effect.
I mean, certainly you're not gonna turn around within the row.
No.
Between rows.
No. You go out the end, or whatever some spaces are able to cut through the small piece of machinery.
Where are you farming?
Hay and corn right now.
Ronnie, have you found a farmer that's actually doing hay in Thunder Room?
Yeah.
Which one was it?
The one we visited together
Palmer.
in Palmer.
Yeah. That's pretty much open though, that's small.
There were cows in there.
Where they were using it for pasture.
Yeah.
They got a special tractor and mower and everything because of that system, as you recall, had some lower spots in it. But,
Okay.
other people are growing other crops under it. But as far as we're doing, all of that land gets some sun during the day other than a couple inches. I think we decided when we were out at that one.
When you designed the system, with your equipment that you're using today, was that taken into consideration with
Yeah.
the turning radiuses and everything?
There's, as complicated as this half of this project is, the MDAR, I believe it is, as the farm plan that you mentioned, that's got so many stipulations about land use. You can't change your land use off of agriculture at all.
Okay.
To the point where I think there's a 5-year stipulation from when it's commissioned. You need to keep doing the same thing for 5 years. You can't rotate crops from say hay to raspberries or something like that. You got to keep doing it all the same. Not easy.
Okay. Thank you. Did you guys have any questions on anything? Yeah,
Yeah, Bill Markham, you want me to sign in?
please. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Bill, for signing.
Now, you're gonna shut me down. Yes. But I have something important to say. I'm gonna get out of the call now.
Okay.
Now, I'm the ex-fire chief in town,
Okay.
okay? And I've been to battery fires before. Nothing like what they're gonna put on this piece of property. And that's my concern.
Mm-hmm.
The residue, has the fire department ever been asked how they're gonna handle this battery if it catches fire? And it, from what I've heard, I'm still in contact with a lot of firemen, they drown it. And when they drown it, it's going to be subsurface, top water flowing. And where's that flow is going to go? Some is going to go into the aquifer that this sits on. And the rest of it's going to flow down and into the Manhattan River.
And the wetlands.
And all the wetlands down there.
And then it becomes
And God, I love your family around here. You're putting me in a bad spot.
We all love his family.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's a matter of public safety and public health. And I hope you take that into consideration when you do your recommendations tonight and vote.
Yeah.
So please.
And I didn't shut you down. I let you.
Move on.
Yeah.
If I can comment on
Yeah. Can I jump in first?
Sorry.
Can I jump in first? I'm gonna just say something first. One, thanks for the years of service as fire chief. Two.
Not everybody says that.
Yeah. Two. Yeah. I mean, I think those are valid concerns, and I think we'd be having on this side of the table, we'd be having a very different discussion if the pad that those batteries sit on were within our jurisdiction. And I recognize that, if there is an issue and that that water does start to seep into jurisdiction, that like there's what might seem like a gray area there, right? I think one thing that we can do, so we can't, I've been told that we cannot base our decision on whether or not to approve this based on the batteries. Because of where they sit, but because of where they sit. Hang on. But what we can do is we can make a recommendation to the planning board that does vote on those as to what we think should happen, or considerations that they should take into, or different details that they should take into consideration. So I think, yeah, I mean, that's my interpretation based on what I've been told. And you know, you'll hear us discuss in a little bit, like that's something that I'm going to add into our vote, is making sure that there is something that, you know, that these things are taken into consideration and or you know, taken into consideration by the planning board.
Because the electric cars that we're seeing run around, they catch fire, we can't put them out.
Right. There's yes.
It's a little bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a electrical engineer. I'm not an expert on battery storage systems, so I can't speak to, you know, how you put them out or the chemistry that is within them. But yeah, you know, it's a new technology, and there's a lot of scary things that have happened over the past.
I appreciate you not shutting me down.
Yes. Ron, you wanted to say something?
So on the batteries,
We're not supposed to be talking about it.
it's one of my most important aspects of this project, regardless of what everyone else thinks. So, do I want to endanger everyone in town? No. So, I asked lots of questions. I'm surprised, Jeff, that you didn't find this. If you didn't, the official Massachusetts recommended procedure to fight these batteries. It's out there. I have a copy of it. I sent it to many people. Okay.
50 flags?
Well,
850
I
flags?
don't remember the number of it, unfortunately. I have it. I will review it again and send it out if it's any different or help you shed some light on it. But from my understanding of it, and I'm not a fireman, I'm not an electrician, the biggest issue, or I'm sorry, I'm jumping around, not good in crowds. Where to start here? Okay, I'll start here. The technology has changed from anything that's out there over 2 years old, from what I'm told. Again, it's only hearsay to me. I've heard it from reputable sources, in my opinion, but whatever the case is, it's my land, my town. I don't want to screw it up. So, I've done that kind of homework, talked to Blue Wave, and they follow along, you know, everything seems to be legal, safe, all this stuff. So, in the regulation, I believe, I'm jumping ahead again. Blue Wave is supposed to provide training for the fire department, as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. You may know more than I know, but so that's one thing. These batteries are stationary. They're not driving down the street. They're not going to the bank. They're not stopping at the gas station. Not getting coffee. They're there. They're not moving. When firemen are trained, or first responders, it's going to be just like it was when they were there to practice. Nothing's changed. All right? So, in that respect, it's a pretty safe environment. If you're going to have a massive battery fire, you might as well have it where it's a known, and your personnel have been trained, and everything's in place. So, as things change, chiefs change, people change, workers change, firemen, there's gonna have to be some type of an updated protocol and training. And so now I'll get back to the paperwork, and I don't know the number, correct? But right now, what they want to have done is to leave the fires and let them burn out. And then whatever the water does to the lithium, it doesn't form that. And I'm sorry, I don't know the names of all this crap. I know about the hazards, and I just don't understand it or know the names. I can't remember them all of this stuff around the whole project. So whatever the issue is with the batteries going into the water, yes, you get some residual, but you don't want to wet them down, which is what happens in a lot of cases, because the personnel weren't trained, or they changed, or they just plain old forgot. However, on mobile fire, car fire, where it's someplace dangerous or someone in a car, something else is at risk, they have to wet them down. That's what I'm told. But when on a stationary fire, you don't. And that caught my attention on TV a few months ago, or maybe it was online on an older fire, that it was just being monitored on the news. People sitting there just watch it go, and I couldn't figure out why. That was before a lot of this came up. So that's my understanding of it. I urge everyone to do their own homework and find out what's going on. Because I don't want to be unsafe either. As I thank you all when I first stood up. These questions and these comments have to be brought up to make it best for everyone.
Mr. Chairman.
Cool. Thank you, Ron. Yeah, George.
If I may, there is an incredible amount of information coming from, and concerns coming from the abutters and the town residents. In my opinion, most of which are outside the Commission's jurisdiction. I would like to point out that there's been an application submitted for the Conservation Commission that's going to need planning board approval as well, and yet probably 90% of the activity in this new application is in jurisdiction of the wetlands. Would we want the planning board discussing the wetlands issues at their hearing?
Yeah, no, fair point. Yeah. Understood, yeah. We'll, yeah, thank you for the question about the batteries. Thank you for the explanation of what the homework that you've done. I let curiosity get the better of me. We do need to let that is a planning board issue, so no more discussion about the battery, the storage. Thank you. Did somebody, yeah, you had.
Linda J. from Maple Street. I am asked about the wetlands. So we're going to fence the wetlands right next to the river. Am I correct? Is that where the fence is going, right next to the river, or right around there where the wetlands are?
No, it's. No. Could you point where it is exactly?
So we can't, from back there, we can't see it.
For all of you. So the wetlands with the fence that we're talking about is in this corner of the field here. The stream, Manhan River, you can kind of see it runs back here.
Okay. So when you're saying you're not going to disturb anything in the wetlands. Now, is there trees in there? Is it it's just a field and it's being farmed?
Being farmed or pastured.
Okay. So when you put solar panels in there, where are the wires?
The wires get mounted underneath the.
So everything's underneath. Nothing is other than the poles going into the ground. There's nothing disturbing the ground.
So
the wires are all up underneath the things.
In between, within the roads, yes, there'll be wiring within what's called cable trays underneath the road. There will be a common trench that leads back to the equipment pads coming to the east, away from these jurisdictional areas. So within these roads.
Wetlands.
No. The wetland impact impact. The only thing that's going through the wetland is the fence that we were just discussing that is an exemption for agricultural purposes. What was a part of our NOI application was that is within the jurisdictional area or the buffer area. So within the 100-foot buffer to wetlands, we are proposing installation of these arrays, but no wetland impacts associated with the actual array itself.
Other than the poles?
The poles, so that 7 square feet number that we're talking about is the riverfront area. So that 200-foot distance between your bank line and going 200 feet back away from that bank line, there's 7 square feet of posts within that area.
Okay, so when you're putting these poles in the wetlands, not the rest of it, because the rest of it is probably pretty firm, but in the wetlands, depending on how much rain we have and whatnot, it's pretty mushy. So as your big piece of equipment goes through there, it's not going to turn around, put big gouges into it that's gonna...
So just to clarify, the only work that's actually happening in wetland, use that term specifically, because that's what you're talking about. You want to know how the ground's going to be impacted.
Yes.
Wet ground.
Yes.
That's just a handful of 5-inch diameter wooden fence posts right there.
That's it.
That's it. This riverfront area is protected under the Wetlands Protection Act, but it's not right now. It's not like cornfields or up in hayfields. It's actually firm, terra firma ground, but because it's 200 feet, within 200 feet of the perennial stream and the main river, it's protected as a wetland resource area, but it's not actually wetland.
Okay, all right, that's my question.
Thank you. Oh, while you're there, can you just sign in?
She did.
Oh, she did. Oh, didn't even notice. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Do you guys have any other questions for Melinda or Ron or Dave?
I just have one comment, and it's maybe doesn't apply, but I wish these projects, I wish they were building solar installations over parking lots. On top of malls and not
I agree.
natural areas.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would agree. I think on the flip side though, it is incredibly hard to be a farmer, especially a small scale farmer.
That's the other thing.
Right, and so anything that.
But I think, to recognize the value of this land.
Could I comment on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you brought up the idea of not using this wonderful farmland for a solar project. We're still farming it. We're still farming under it. And the best thing about it is it's gone in 30 years.
Is it though? Like, what happens to all these posts that are in the ground? 30 years, are they? I don't know.
How simple is it pulling it out?
I have heard that they don't.
Well, in the plan, they're
It's okay.
disposing of whatever that word is. I don't remember the end of life.
Decommissioning.
Decommissioning is accounted for. So we got 20-year contract, 2 possible 5-year extensions, if it's viable for them. And then after that, we can say, see you later. And it's back to what it was. And you're not gonna have that anywhere else. I tried selling lots, but I had told people I had to pull their house out in 30 years. Not one person would buy it.
You had to do what? I mean, I didn't get.
It was a joke.
I'm being sarcastic, I'm sorry.
But technology is moving at the speed of light.
It is.
And if you're saying 25 years I give it 5, maybe 6 years tops, that all these people are gonna be laughing. Do you remember when they put those stupid solar panels on all the farmland, all that glass, and all those, non-disposable elements and stuff in the bottom?
Yeah.
Remember when they did that? I mean, it's not fun, and everybody's gonna want to decommission them at the same time. All these companies that have put these thousands of panels everywhere.
Possibility, I guess, but
Who's gonna be left holding the bag there?
whatever the contract's. Right.
Yeah.
What does it say?
Oh, Melinda?
Yeah, I just want to clarify that, what Ron was speaking to about the decommissioning, that's again, a part of the planning board application that we submitted for site
Yep.
plan review. And they will be able to review and comment on that as part
Okay.
of that process.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Do you guys have any? Yes.
I would just like to ask a couple of questions. I'll sign it.
Yeah, please.
You've been tolerated.
And it was Jack, is that right?
I go by Jack, it's John officially,
Okay.
but I go by Jack, yeah. Okay. One of my concerns is originally solar panels had a lot of, from a hailstorm, give off a lot of negative particles into the environment, into the ground, to the air, could get into the water, wherever. But they are negative particles. Now, I don't know if the technology now has changed so that the makeup of the panels themselves are more environmentally friendly, let's say. I don't know. I haven't seen anything to that effect. However, one of the concerns would be, especially if this is being used for hay and corn, hay is either going to feed the animals that somebody's going to eat, or the corn is going to feed the animals that somebody's going to eat, or the corn is going to the people that are going to eat it.
Yeah.
So all these things eventually, over a period of time, I mean, not the first year or two, but over a period of time, can get contaminated by this stuff. Okay, who mitigates it? If that happens, who's monitoring it? Who mitigates it? Who's responsible for it? Now, I've asked these questions already to somebody in supposedly an authority in town, and I was told that the state's not responsible. The people are left holding the bag, basically, is what I was told. The town's not responsible, the state's not responsible. The companies are not responsible, the governors are not responsible. It's you and me, it's us. So, where does that leave us, okay? Not, I don't even want to get into the battery thing. You got an article here, you can check into that, but the batteries obviously have to be somewhere in proximity.
Yeah, next to my house.
Sure. Now, down in Connecticut just yesterday, there was a hailstorm. I don't know if you saw the news item. There was a piece of hail that came down. It was like a jagged rock. It wasn't a round hailstone. It's like a big, jagged piece of rock.
Jack. Hey, Jack. This is, I'm
just saying
sorry
that
to
this,
cut you
the
off.
damage
Yeah.
that could do affects the panel, which affects the ground, which affects the property, and affects everything that comes off of the property afterwards. So it's a consideration in the overall safety of the proposal and the whole plan.
Yeah, I think this is like kind of to George's point and what I had implied earlier, like stormwater and these concerns, like I think these are great questions for the planning board and they probably are already considering these, right?
Oh, I'll be there, yeah.
Yeah, so, but yeah, no, it's all
Well,
valid.
I'm
Thank
trying to
you.
relate it to what, what's the jurisdiction here in terms of the panel area and that particular aspect. I mean, I could get into a whole bunch of other things. I gave Ron some articles so he can review that too. But that's, I think, one of the major concerns, and people that I talked to, someone mentioned that there's people in town very concerned about this whole overall project, and especially after what happened in Westfield with the battery thing last year.
Right.
That's got people even more concerned.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Jeff, did you have your hand raised?
I did. Okay, I'm on Levesque's peer review, page 8. Do anybody have that somewhere? Actually, it's page 9. It's item 6 on page 9 under project description, narrative review, and comments. The response from Weston and Sampson in relation to number 6 eliminated, never even mentioned a lot of stuff that was in peer review. I spent a few hours going through the response, comparing it to, the actual question or the peer review. So there's some fairly important things that weren't even addressed, both there and another section on the peer reviews, page 14, under standard 8. That whole standard was completely not even in the response. I swear that Levesque, I find it hard to believe that they only had 3 things that I've literally got probably 30 things to talk about, maybe more. So how they only have 3 things to put out there that they'd like some more input from the applicant is beyond me.
Yeah, thank you.
So they should be here today. They're not even here on Zoom, and this should be, heard by them, and they should get input from the public.
Yeah, no, it's a fair question, yeah. And I think, and thank you for pointing out that they had emailed us as this, was kicking off. I would have missed it otherwise. Yeah, they went through line by line, and we went through their 3 comments, so. But, yeah.
Well, I would propose that I literally would need an hour to go through and talk about page by page this response. So am I going to get that opportunity, or?
An hour? No.
Well, maybe not tonight. But we go back. No one in this room, no one in this public, and they were hired as an expert. They're not here. Or the town of Southampton paid 15 grand or whatever it was, and they're not here to listen to the response. That's just unacceptable.
Yep, that's why, I'm having, making sure that we connect them with the planning board, because there is a lot more that is part of that the planning board is going to be discussing and going over, right? So, thank you though. I think those are very valid concerns, and yeah, I appreciate it.
Why do I think there's a but there?
Oh no, I just stopped talking before I got to that. No, I don't have a good answer, I guess, is the but, right? Unless you have any thoughts or questions, I was going to make a motion.
You should make the motion.
Yeah. George, did you have anything or any thoughts?
Just what's in my agent's report, and that becomes part of the record.
Right.
Anyways.
Yeah. Okay. Should I do the public hearing motion separate for record?
You can combine them in one, or you can have 2 motions.
Does it make a difference for like appeals or anything?
No, as long as they're distinctly enumerated. For instance, I move to close the public hearing and to issue the order of conditions.
Okay. Okay, so then I guess I will make a motion to close the public hearing and then to approve with the order of conditions, approve this with the conditions that are outlined in the agent's report. 23 through 31, 34, 35, 37, 39, 41, 44, 47 through 50, 54, 57, 62, 64A and B, including the stipulation that 64A requires straw wattles versus fencing, and that 64B incorporates mass wildlife conditions.
Can I ask George a question? You, in your report, you also outlined 310, 1058, CMR 4A, B, and C. Should those somehow be incorporated? Those are the performance requirements.
If I may suggest, and it would be up to the maker of the motion, if the commission believes that they have been adequately addressed by the applicant, one of the reasons for the making positive on the OOC would be that the applicant has met the requirements of and cite that section.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a suggestion?
Yeah, please.
Given the complexity of what has transpired, I recommend two motions. One to close the hearing.
Okay.
And then we can discuss, I'm able legally to discuss the technicalities of the approval.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it. All right. Then I will make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Brad?
Aye.
Aye. And Robin?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, George, you're on.
In going with what you said before, Mr. Chair, that you were going to make a motion to grant the order of conditions, and you went through the stipulations I requested be in that order of conditions. Just to bring up Brad's point, I think it would be very important in the basis of appeal to reflect in that motion that it's the Commission's opinion that the performance standards of 310 CMR 58 have been met.
Okay. So just simply just saying.
Be the same thing, the motion you just made, but based on the fact that those performance standards in reference to 310 CMR have been met.
And for the and how, is there anything to type in the agent report you have that they've been met and how?
Based on the testimony that was taken in the public hearing.
Okay. All right, then I'll start over here. So then I will make a motion to approve with the special conditions 23 through 31, 34, 35, 37, 39, 41, 44, 47 through 50, 54, 57, 62, and 64A and B, where 64A is requiring straw wattles for erosion control versus fencing, and 64B incorporates the mass wildlife conditions by reference and find that the performance standards of 310 CMR 1058 have been met by the applicant during public testimony.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Okay. All those in favor? Brad?
Aye.
Aye. And Robin?
No.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I'd also, I guess, to make a recommendation for the planning board for the battery system. I do want to get that on record. Would that be a motion?
Let me draft something.
Okay.
Send it to the commission.
Okay.
Okay, for review and approval.
Okay.
I don't want to do anything outside the public hearing per se, but you already indicated you were going to make a recommendation to them. So you're just reviewing your recommendation as we go along.
Okay.
I believe the sound covered on there, Oh, I see. I love that. Yeah, sure. If you want this, my copy. Yeah.
We'll give folks a few minutes to.
Thank you.
On the 20th, next one, right? I hope the rain holds on. I hope the rain holds on. Yeah, we're supposed to get Thank you.
I do have a question.
Do I need to sign the application document? How do you want that done? Do I need to sign it? How does it work?
Did you submit it to the
So let's see, it was the 20th.
I know, I don't want to bring anything up.
We need more help on Saturday.
I know, I was there.
I'm working on the RDA store out here with additional there.
Yeah, they are.
And I had a question out here.
I see you on all the
I
work on the west.
Blazing down signs of sorrow. We're going to be building the bridges. I am down Wednesday afternoon. Hopefully we'll get
Effort.
Okay.
97.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'll send an email.
All right. Yeah, that works. Yes, thank you for everything. Yeah, I'll let you know. Thank you for running around.
Of course.
Just quick, I went for a motorcycle trip with one of my friends to New York 2 weeks ago. We knew it was gonna rain, we were staying overnight a couple of days in Saratoga Springs. You're on
I appreciate your putting
back
it
roads.
together.
All of a sudden, it wasn't just pouring, things were spinning, everything was falling, a branch this big, came flying down and hit my bike, knocked the mirror off. I found it in the middle of the road and duct taped it
What are
on.
you hanging around for?
Oh, it stays in my bike now. But you too.
Yes.
This is the first time I got to sit and actually watch you.
Yeah.
You did
Well,
good.
we gotta keep this meeting going.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry.
No.
You've known
Thanks, Aaron. Take care.
for a long
Yes.
time.
All right.
You need to sign those.
We got to sit at the table this time.
Yes, yeah. Are you our new liaison?
I am your new liaison, yes.
Nice.
Congratulations, Charlie.
Does Robin sign this or does she abstain from
No,
signing?
no, everybody signs it because
Okay.
it was a 2-to-1 vote in favor.
Okay,
Okay, if it was a 2-to-1 vote against, nobody signs it.
right, okay. Sorry, yeah.
There's no sympathy here.
What are you a liaison to?
The Board of Selectmen,
Okay,
or select persons,
okay,
or people.
very good.
I'll never get used to that.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for, that was the most passionate one that we've had since I've joined.
Oh yeah, me too.
Was it?
Yes. By a very, very large margin.
And it would have been very, very different if most of that area was in jurisdiction.
Oh, that would have been.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Much more to consider.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, George, that one on College Highway that you were talking about,
Yeah,
they gave me a thumb drive with all the files.
yeah.
Do you need any of that?
At this point, no.
All right, well, just keep in mind that,
Okay. Because I've requested some modifications already.
that's fine, I'm just saying. There's a lot of stuff goes past my office, so.
Yeah.
I usually hear about things long before they get to any meeting.
We haven't gotten that one yet. George is keeping it mysterious for us right now. Yeah.
Did I tell you about the junk cars?
We're waiting to hear about that.
Well, which one?
377 Hartford Turnpike.
College Highway, you mean?
College Highway, yeah.
Yeah.
Wrong state.
I'm a little confused. 70 plus vehicles in jurisdiction.
And it's,
You cannot see them from out there.
How did,
Yeah, that's curious. That's why I'm,
yeah, we're getting a bit of ahead of ourselves, but how did you come to,
The complaint went to the health department.
Oh, it was a
And
complaint.
the building department. Health department, building department started the investigation. The investigation led to finding all these vehicles out there. So that led to letting George know that some of it is encroaching in the wetlands. And orders were issued from the health department and the building department to get the process going. So it is going. The individual is cooperating. I was just thunderstruck to see, and I know you don't have time to watch the video, but I was just thunderstruck to see how many vehicles were hidden in the woods out there.
I didn't know there was I didn't see them.
George doesn't share well.
You can't see it from the road.
I mean, I drive by it all the time, and I feel like I would have noticed 70 vehicles.
Yeah, he admitted that he's got a addiction to buying used cars and junk cars.
That's tough. Huh.
You would never think, I mean, I've dealt with hoarding and cluttering and all the rest of that in my whole professional career, but never vehicles. I've never seen vehicles being purchased.
And I'm going up there with the health agent on the 16th, so I get a personal look. And then if he says he's moving them, but if they're still in jurisdiction, we'll get involved in enforcement.
But I mean, moving, aren't there town, isn't there zoning laws against number of vehicles you can have?
You can only have 2.
Yeah, so they're sort of, here's
so that's under the building inspector's enforcement or jurisdiction.
Here's an aerial picture. That's why I hit that. And that's just part of it, that's not all of it.
Wow.
In fact, you know what? If we're gonna be that committed.
Yeah, and the other thing that concerns me is we want to make sure there's no hazardous material spills.
Right. Yeah. Now, is it like a junkyard type thing, or is it I'm working on these and fixing them, or?
No, he's just collecting them.
Just collecting.
Yeah, it's just a.
Wow.
I mean, if you were to look.
So he doesn't have a permit in for a museum yet?
No.
Here's an angle just behind his dwelling.
Holy Jesus.
If there's more in the woods, there's the clearings in the woods, so, okay, and the satellite mapping takes pictures every April and I think it's September.
Yeah.
So I can access that to put the reports together. But, and if you want to share.
Oh, wow.
This is our little town people.
Who knew?
Wow. That's crazy. We didn't watch the whole thing, but the first 10 seconds alone is,
So when George starts talking about cars.
Huh. Wow. Okay.
As your liaison for the board of selectmen, and indirectly I have contact with the health department, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any questions or anything you want to ask of me to bring to the select board?
The obvious one, which is maybe not for the select board, but the planning board, that we're going to work on a statement, is like how, considering the battery of the previous issue that we just talked about. Beyond that, I feel I don't know. I don't have anything that's jumping
if you
to mind.
Need assistance,
yeah,
you can always contact me.
Okay.
Okay. I'll give you a business card so you have my cell phone and all that.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of activities between the select board and your board.
Right.
But sometimes stupid happens and
yes.
Next thing you go is like, okay, this is
nice, thank you. Yeah, I think it was, when I first joined, Dan was the liaison, and that was...
Well, he was actually a member too.
Oh, that's right, he was a member / liaison.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why it was there was constantly somebody from the select board that was part of the discussions. That was always nice. Because you get a different perspective on things, right? Because you're hearing or seeing things come up well in advance before they get to us sometimes.
Well, or in different directions. But it's like the other part to this is like I'm the liaison for the water department. They're meeting tonight, so I can't be there. I'm liaison to the planning board, which means I'll be going to their.
You're going to be there, yeah.
Which I'll know what you guys said when I'm there.
Right.
which works good because at least it gives one common point to share information.
Yeah.
No. But, well,
Yeah.
if that's that, I'm gonna head out, unless you need something from me.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, no, thank you
Will I
for,
see you tomorrow, George? Will I see you tomorrow?
Yes.
Good, because I'm inspecting 3 condemned abandoned houses in Chester, and I didn't even know you worked there.
Okay.
I'm always harassed, George. He doesn't want to do what
keeping him on his toes. I like it.
See you guys.
All right, Charlie, thank you. Okay. Do you actually work in Chester too?
No.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that's near where I grew up.
Anyways, we need the okay from the board, or the commission rather, to do the treatments at Manham Meadows.
Yes.
And, I can never pronounce the name of the farm.
SIPTA.
Thank you.
Yes, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, so it's the same. We did this, I remember voting on this last year. It's the same treatment.
Ruby comes out
It's-
once a year, Ruby Environmental, and says, you know, do you want it done?
Yeah, it's one of the primary plants that they're treating is Japanese knotweed.
Yeah.
So do we know what they're using?
Yes, or at least I did.
I can get the, you want to know the chemicals they're using?
Yeah.
I don't think it was glyphosate or
Because supposedly
glyphosate.
there's, at least with knotweed, there's when you do it,
It's
is a factor in what you use.
early fall. I
Right.
think, and I think that they've been right around their treatment. Last time I think was right around early fall.
It was.
Because I remember doing the research on
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, because
Is it a pond too, or was that something else?
That was
gonna
another,
get treated?
that's another
Okay.
farm. That was,
Pequot, right?
yeah, they're out of Spencer, I forget the name. But anyways, Ruby's quite good. He had very, very good luck last year at Mahan. He gives us the chemicals he's going to use and the dates. So I'll make sure you get
Yeah, I
those.
would like to know at least what it is.
Yeah. So we'll hold off on approving that until we. I'm trying to see if I have it in my email from a previous thing. I didn't see anything immediately.
Do we need a motion or?
Do you want to wait until we get this?
Is that a problem if we put it off until next meeting?
No.
Then why don't we,
Yeah.
you can get that information. you
Sure.
can-
Yeah.
then you'll have it, and we'll
Yeah.
Okay.
Enforcement order ratification at 127 Middle.
We don't need to do that
Okay.
because of the RDA they had tonight.
Okay.
The treasurer's report you have, it's the final report of fiscal year '26. We ended up, I think, with a balance of $20 in our expense account.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're already into spending money in '27 for legal notices that were posted and that kind of stuff, but we're going forward. There's nothing really outstanding. The one thing that I will expect a bill in, the amount that we were billed for the peer review on the solar farm and the amount that the original estimate came in, I'm just gonna pick numbers. They figured 15,000 and then they sent us a bill for 14,000.
Okay.
So we're probably gonna receive another bill for that, and I'm gonna recommend, I'm gonna see if we can use that money for their time at the planning board. And I frankly, I have an email from them, I double checked that they would be here tonight.
I think that could really be an issue among, community members saying they weren't here, we didn't get our chance to really ask some questions, so.
I'm gonna be super technical. The community has no right to ask the peer reviewers questions because the peer reviewer works for the commission.
Right.
And they could only ask the commission questions directly. Now, I've seen it go both ways, and it depends if you've got a circus going on, where people just start over-talking one another and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't work. But it's very difficult for the commission to keep passionate people focused on the legalities process. And we ran into that tonight, but not too bad.
Yeah.
You know, and in my opinion, by letting the property owner talk, you soothed a lot of heated tempers.
Oh, he was big. He was big. Just having him here and
Yeah.
from his point of view explaining things, I thought it was really helpful.
Yeah, because when the person who actually owns the property is saying, I don't have a problem with this, basically, what are you gonna say? You know, and he's got 200 acres.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's a controversial issue. And by the way, that gentleman who talked about putting out vehicle fires and battery fires, is he a former firefighter?
Yeah, he was the fire chief in town.
Yeah, he
okay.
was some time ago. Yeah.
10 plus, yeah, I think he actually checked my first house when we sold it, he checked all the fire, the smoke detectors.
Okay.
Or maybe when I bought it, I forget, whenever you do that inspection. I thought he looked familiar.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, yes, having Ron here was helpful.
Yes.
Because I think they're all friends, or at least like close
Sounded like
neighbors.
they went together to go look at a project.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, the Bashistas have been here for a very long time. But anyway,
anywho,
it's yeah, I definitely could have done a better job of making sure that people address us.
Yeah.
And not the public,
yeah,
and then directing questions here, not, but I also would, I was trying to find a balance because I
thought you did it well.
It worked.
I appreciate that, yeah.
And there was no right way to do it, because if you shut the people up, they're gonna
it's not gonna go
bitch and
well.
holler and scream. And if you shut the applicant out, they're gonna appeal.
Right.
And I just want to make sure we dotted the i's and crossed the legal t's, because I think there's a real possibility this is going to get appealed.
Yes. I would imagine it will be.
Yeah, I thought it was good that the engineer read through the responses. You know, that I thought that was helpful. I hadn't seen that. I hadn't seen that email, but out of the whole mass of responses from Levesque, came down to 3 issues, and I think they handled them reasonably well.
Yeah. Right. Now that's just 3 issues in wetlands.
Yeah.
They still got to deal with the drainage.
Yeah, and that's for the planning board. That's going to be, it's going to be an interesting meeting.
Yeah.
That's yes.
Are you going to go to that meeting, George?
I know.
No.
But you know, I felt very strongly that this project we've got coming in on College Highway, I don't want 90% of the project's in jurisdiction for this commission, and I don't want the planning board discussing the wetlands issues.
Yeah.
And the people are going to bring them up at the planning board. Be that as it may.
Yeah. Let's I want to debrief more, but let's.
Can I ask a question about the treasurer's report?
Yes.
You've put that on the table. Last year or earlier this year, can't remember which, you sort of went through what each of these, we have 10 accounts here, what each of them was for, and what we could spend money for out of them. Can you bring that back and explain that to us? I don't know if we need it tonight, but if at some point.
Real quickly, the conservation agent wages is obviously that's my salary.
Yeah.
The one that says Concom, AKA Conservation Revolving Fund, and the one that says Conservation Commission Expenses. Let me back up. The Conservation Commission expenses are what the select board and the town meeting give us to handle our, like, that's where my mileage reimbursement comes out, that's where we pay for office supplies, that's where we pay for legal notices. Now, the legal notices are a wash because the applicant gives us $171, and we give it back to the paper. Now, the Concom revolving fund and the Wetlands Protection Fund, I have no idea why we have two of them. The statute requires that we have a Wetlands Protection account, which is the last one on the first page. That's the account that's where all our filing fees go in, for instance. And the money from that account can only be spent at the direction of this commission. You have total control over that expenditure, and that's by statute. To me, the Concom revolving fund is a duplicate of that. I don't know why we have two of them. I've asked that question of all the treasurers, all the accountants, and all the town administrators, and I still haven't got an answer. The other ones that are left are strictly designated for those parcels that are called out. For instance, we have one on Mahan Meadows, for instance. That's where we're going to pay for the invasive species treatment. Okay? We have one on Red Book Estates. That's where we pay for the annual report on stuff like that. The Concom mitigation funds are a result of a lawsuit that the town had against DEP. I don't mean DEP.
Eversource.
Eversource, thank you. And we won. Eversource gave us 70 grand, and we're supposed to spend it as rapidly as possible. And one of the things we could spend it on is invasive species treatment or something else that's come up. For instance, we're paying the the bridge materials for Whitmore Bridge. It's coming out of that fund. So it's kind of a catch-all fund, and we try and use it as quickly as we can, because we're supposed to, without depleting our wetlands protection fund. Did that answer your questions?
Yeah.
Okay. For instance, I will say one more thing. I'm going to, in fact, I finally found the one I want. I have to buy a new computer. My computer is doing something now that if you turn it on, it doesn't come on. So then I have to shut it down again and wait about 10 minutes and turn it on again. And if I get lucky, it'll come on. So I'm going to buy the computer for, it's under $700 out of our Wetlands Protection Fund. Because I can't, that's a legal expense out of that account because it's necessary to run the commission, so to speak. But other than that, it's all of the funds that we're getting or spending fairly nicely, except I've even asked our new treasurer, Megan, why do we have these two funds? She doesn't know either.
Okay. Do you need a motion to buy a new, to expend?
No.
Okay.
You know, that's only if we get over 10 grand.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm not gonna pass that motion for a 10 grand.
And we don't have any report from the Trailblazers.
She was here and she said she'd email.
Yeah. And the final thing I wanted to bring up was I passed out, I just got the minutes.
Yeah.
And I just had a couple of quote issues, unquote.
Typos of mine that you fixed?
Nothing is major, but these are my recommendations for the adoption of amended minutes.
Yeah, I looked before the meeting, they all looked good. Another typo. The typos are mine, not Robin's.
Oh,
They're mine. I'll own them. So if we can, I'll make a motion to, or I'd like to make a motion to accept
As amended.
the meeting minutes for, we're gonna have to do them separately. Cause Brad wasn't at the first meeting,
Okay.
right? Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion to accept the May 4th meeting minutes as amended. Or that's the sentence, as amended.
I'll second.
Thank you. So all in favor?
Yes.
Robin and I, okay. And then I'll make a motion to accept the June 1st meeting minutes as amended.
Second.
Thank you. And then, yeah, all in favor? Aye, okay. Anything that can't wait until
I got nothing.
July 20th? Okay. Does anybody want a motion to close? The fun one, the fun motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye, great.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.